It's time to explore the setbacks, zoning, and proforma of a site. In the nav tree, select one of your sites, and you'll notice in the properties portion, you have setbacks, zoning, and proforma. Let's begin with the setbacks. If you expand the setback section, you notice you first have the ability to ignore roads. We'll explore this option in a later chapter. Then we have the ability of increasing or decreasing the default setback option. And you'll notice in Canvas, the orange setback lines adjusting at the same time. You can also select a setback in Canvas and begin to modify the distance manually. You can select the number and numerically control that value. By clicking on this crosshair option right here, you can tag specific setbacks with either the front, side, or rear label. So to do so, simply click to activate and then stamp each setback section. So we'll define our fronts and our two sides and then our rear. And now as we increase or decrease those values, we can see them adjusting. And you'll notice that setback that we had manually set earlier does not adjust. If we switch to a 3D view and select site B, we can toggle between the edges of the site setbacks. In this gray portion right here, you'll notice it says setback control. If we click once, we now have the ability of adding nodes and adding setbacks at height. So if I click arbitrarily here at 60 feet and 2 inches, we can manually change that to 50 feet. You'll notice in Canvas that the face has split in two at 50 feet. We can then click again and adjust our value. We've split this setback into 3 faces, and now we can manually pull that node to create a sloped condition. If we pull that node below the first node we had added, it creates this stepped condition. And you can repeat this process as many times as necessary to create this condition as you see here in Canvas. Of course, you have the ability of then manually adjusting those numerical values. With the setbacks explained, we can look at the next section here called zoning. If we expand that, you'll notice we have a few default profiles. If we simply select one, you'll notice in the zoning options here, we have coverage percentage set to a maximum value of 50%, a dwelling unit per acre of 23, and a maximum height of 40 feet. We can add a metric such as FAR or yield, and we can insert a value. This zoning information can then be seen in our tabulation. So if we go ahead and click on this arrow, you'll notice here on the right side that 3 of the 4 values have exceeded our input. So if we were to increase our height value here, we notice that it turns green, indicating that we have not surpassed our maximum allowable height. Once you've defined your zoning profile, you can click here and give it a new name. You can then save it locally or to the cloud and apply that zoning condition to future sites. With zoning explained, we can then head to Proforma Here we can start inserting expenses such as land cost, hard and soft cost, apartment, retail, and garage values. You'll notice here, if we scroll down a little bit, we have the revenue section for our net rentable square footage per month. If you click the Edit Proforma button, you can then go into greater detail about what it is exactly you need to define here in terms of fiscal values. And then once again, you can save this condition as a financial model and apply it to future sites.